Welcome in this brand new episode of our podcast and our YouTube video. We're going to do a startup lunch. A startup lunch is going to be a time where we invite a startupper, someone who built a startup, and we let them share their experience. So today I'm going to share with you, Carlana is going to share her own story, what was her challenges, and all the ups and downs she had to go through to build her company. So warm welcome, Carlana. I'm very happy to have you on our podcast and YouTube video. So can you just tell us a bit about yourself, what's your background, and what led you to create that startup?
Yes. Hi. Thank you for having me. My name is Carlana Albeno. I'm the founder and CEO of Uldi.com. I have been working in the senior space for the past maybe 6-7 years. We are building basically a matchmaker for seniors who need home care. So we curate matches based on the client's specific needs.
Cool, pretty cool. But what gave you that idea actually? Is it because you were in that industry, you figure out there was a need at some point?
It's kind of an interesting story because at university, I actually studied a master's in social work program with an emphasis in aging. So that was my initial start in college, and life happened and it took me somewhere else. So I left just shortly before graduation. I had kind of a rather tragic event happened where my brother passed away. So I stopped going to college for a little while, and then I moved back home to my parents' house just to be with them. And then I realized that it was really, maybe it wasn't the path for me at the time to finish college. So I had studied for 3 years and then realized that I just needed a break. And so I basically moved, which was kind of odd, but moved into sales and started selling basically everything from selling cars to selling homes. And it's funny how life kind of takes you a different path, but I feel like maybe in some ways it prepared me for entrepreneurship, because I basically was in commission-based sales for many years. And in commission-based sales, if you don't sell, you don't get a paycheck. Yeah. So in a way, I feel like it helped me develop some skills that otherwise I wouldn't have. And today I feel like it's really helping me.
That's cool. That's pretty cool. And so, wow, that I didn't know that story, but what were your initial challenges? Because having an idea is something, but just moving on with that idea and finding people to build it, etc. What were your first step and your first challenges?
My first challenge was really like, I compare it to like diving off a diving board when you're scared of heights. It's just making that initial move and that commitment, believing in your idea enough. And then the next step is really finding, like people that will help you on your journey. For me, most specifically, it was finding like the tech side. Being a non-technical founder is a huge challenge to overcome. Right. So my biggest step was finding the right technology experts that could help me build the most basic model, the least expensive, to help me prove my theory, and basically that families need options. The system is broken. We're finding that the aging community, not just here in the States, but worldwide, is aging. And we're getting to the point, I think I read a study on the US Census Bureau. They basically track patterns in the US population. And they discovered that in less than 10 years, the aging community is going to outnumber children under 18 years of age. For the first time in history, there'll be older people over 65 are going to outnumber children. So that is going to pose a huge problem for our world, because if you're someone like me, you're stuck between, you're what's called the sandwich generation. So you're stuck between, raising children and also thinking about your parents, right? Your aging parents. So, that sector of the community has a huge burden to bear, and I'm finding that people are getting more resourceful when it comes to taking care of their families, their children, and their aging parents. Like, for instance, families, they split the care. So maybe they'll hire someone, private aid to come to their home for like 4 to 6 hours. And then maybe they'll split some of the care with other siblings. Okay. They're finding ways of getting creative, because the option of putting a parent in an assisted living facility or nursing home, it's not sustainable, because it's really expensive in the long run. And things are happening, like, for instance, things that families aren't aware of, like they may not know that their rent is raised every year, or they have to pay for every additional service, like if they're incontinent or they have problems with memory or things like that. So it's really not sustainable for families. It's not an option, and most of us want to stay at home. That's just the reality. People thrive better at home. So what I want to do is just create an option for families, because I see it as a huge problem.
And basically, like in many industries, you use technology to connect people, like Airbnb did it, or like Uber did it. And now with this project, what looks different in your approach is that when you got started, why you did not just hire the first developer you met? How you found me, and we built that project together. So how did you found me, and why did you go for getting a CTO or a senior person to help you instead of just hiring an agency or a developer?
I really think I followed your advice, and I think one of the first things you said was to really, that you can't just hire someone to do, like I think it was Michi actually who used the metaphor of building a home. You start with a foundation, you start with a plan, right? And you build from there. So you can't just hire someone, and say, I want to build,
house,
specific structure without having a real plan. So I think that's one of the first things I learned from you. And that's why I decided to focus on it.
So can you share a bit about the technology side? What did we use? What type of technology? What were the pros? What were the cons of that technology in particular?
So we decided to use a no-code platform because it's less expensive, and it's enabling us to test our theory, right? That families are looking for other solutions, and they need solutions like now. So it's enabling us to modify and make quick changes as we go.
Okay, that's cool. And what were the drawbacks of this technology?
Some of the drawbacks are that it requires maybe, some microservices. So in other words, we can't, completely customize it, right? There are lots of limitations to it, but I still think the pros outweigh the cons.
Yeah, absolutely. There was some difficulties in the engine because there was tons of criteria to match providers, care providers, and clients. And with this type of platform, you can build the basic search engine. But when you build something very, very sophisticated, there are some limits, but which is cool because with no code, we can just plug some microservices, develop a real code on the side, and that's basically what we did. Okay, cool. Now you have your product, it's up and running, you have your initial clients, etc. What are the marketing challenges that you are facing right now?
That's a great question. So right now, our biggest challenge is that people don't know we exist, right? And because we're self-funded and we're not paying for marketing, and to be honest with you, I don't really buy into that. Anyone can buy ads. And I, for one, I'm a consumer and I'm so, whenever I see ads, just so put off by it. So for me, I really feel like it's sort of misleading. You're buying ads, but yet you don't really know, right? If you're really providing that service or where some of the flaws are. So for me, if you focus on organic traffic and, I think that we have a specific challenge because we're a marketplace, right? Mm-hmm. So it's building this two-sided market has proven to be really, to me, it's like climbing Mount Everest in a way. It's like building, these two different, the system of like providers, buyers and sellers. And that's the biggest challenge.
Which one did you start it first? Which type of profile did you onboard on your platform?
I started with providers first. But as I'm moving along, I feel like the demand should come first. So now I'm focusing more on finding clients and then finding the providers.
Okay, right? So you move a bit forward with providers, then clients, then after providers, etc., just to climb the mountain one step at a time, 1 foot at a time, I would even say.
Exactly. But I really think that now I need to focus on building clients. Because if you have clients, if you have that demand, it's easier to find someone that can fill that, right?
Definitely. What can you share about your onboarding? Because actually you have two onboarding for clients and providers. What do you do to onboard them? Basically, what do you do?
Well, we're trying to make it as easy as possible. We're trying to kill two birds with one stone, I think. We're on the one hand, on the provider side, we want to create jobs that don't exist yet. So I'll give you an example. Seniors need a whole ecosystem to come to them, right? It's a whole ecosystem. It's picking up medications. It's taking people to the doctor. It's also, all the services that they need. They need dental work. They need podiatry service. They need their, food cooked. They need physical therapy and all these things. And what I want to do is create an ecosystem for them. So, for instance, like chefing, there are people that are willing to provide those services and just cook and, customize meals and then deliver them. Right. So those jobs don't really exist, but I want to create them because it's very badly needed. And so in a way, I'm driven by creating jobs. There are so many people out there who don't have the opportunity, but are looking for work. What if it's someone who's, partially disabled, but can still cook? And they want to get paid for it. I think it's a great opportunity, right? To take care of two different parts of society, the aging adults too. They very badly need care and they're willing to pay a little bit for that service. So
that's cool. And we can definitely get your passion for what you are building. That's pretty cool. Talking about the onboarding, technically speaking, what are you working on? Is it data? Is it, I don't know, maybe videos? Is it questionnaires on the first onboarding? What do you have? What are you working on?
I'm just basically interviewing people face to face. I go and meet clients. I meet the providers. I talk to them about the onboarding process, what's hard, what's not what's easy, what they like and dislike. So a lot of just face-to-face interactions. I talk with clients. I ask them what they think about specific features. We haven't yet put up a paywall, but that's something that we've talked about. I talk with clients, just get feedback from them. What do they like? What features are they willing to pay for?
Okay.
So that's.
And what do you monitor online? You talked about a lot about the offline thing, but what do you monitor online? You have some stats, maybe some conversion rates. What do you monitor?
Yeah, we do track. We track the onboarding process, where they stop, what questions they skip, for instance, and what they come back to, what features are they using once they onboard, once they create a profile, are they coming back? Are they not coming back?
That's cool. Yeah, that remember me something that, like, I think it's a few months ago, we had a discussion about the next step and the next features. And I remember you wanted to move with a kind of a CRM system for providers and clients. And I basically stopped you and I asked you, okay, we will do that later. But working on the onboarding, working on getting people that use what we have already, I feel like it was important. I don't know what you feel about that decision that we made like a few months ago, but sometimes the technical development could be a trap. Actually, we love building feature, we love our product, we fall in love with our product, and if we do not fall in love with our clients, it can be an issue. What do you think? Do you confirm that? Are you happy with the decision we made a few months ago?
I think there's a fine balance, right? Because on the one hand, you do need to continue to develop it as you get to know where your client, where the real need is, right? So, there are times when you do have to pivot a little. So yes, on the one hand, I think you do have to use some restraint, right? Because then you could just keep developing and developing, and not really know what's working and what's not working. So, but on the other hand, it's like a catch-22 because you have to, on the other hand, make some pivots and shift a little.
Yeah.
So
yeah, finding the business model is definitely something that is like just crucial. Okay, can you share with us one of the final questions? What's the long-term vision for your business? Where do you want to be like in 3 or 5 years?
That's a great question. I really see like the next marketplace. I want to build the whole ecosystem for families. I want to build a whole support system for families. So I see it as a one-stop shop for everything that seniors need, whether it's medical equipment, referrals. They're looking for what works, what doesn't work, things like how to prevent falls, real information, and even finding, someone who is a podiatrist who's willing to make house calls. So I see like a whole ecosystem, a whole marketplace, a one-stop shop for seniors.
Cool. Okay. That gave me another question, by the way. If there was like 3 to 5 tips or things to know that you wish you would have known like three years ago, what would it be?
That's a good one. I wish that I had focused more on building maybe a network of potential partners and investors, and maybe had focused on that before I launched.
Okay, interesting. So you almost launched too early, actually, from your point of view, if I translate it.
I think so.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Okay, any last thoughts or message that you would like to share with our audience before we wrap it up?
I have just a passion for this, what I see as a huge problem worldwide. And so I hope that I can at least get my message across that I think something needs to happen. Someone needs to do something to make sure that our world is taken care of as we age. And I hope that if anyone is as passionate and buys into this argument as much as I do, that they'll contact me. I'd love to chat with them.
Perfect. So if they want to contact me, they can get, I guess, on oldie.com, OOLDIE.com, right?
Yes, that's correct. And they can always email me at carlana@oldie.com.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Carlana, for your time. I really appreciate it. I hope everyone appreciated this interview as well. And we're going to come back very soon with other founders that we worked with or that we didn't work with. That's going to be great. Thanks again, Carlana, for being with us today, and look forward to another episode. Thanks.
Thank you so much.